The old Ford rumbled down the dusty road, its headlights cutting through the growing darkness. Inside, laughter and anticipation filled the air. Four friends, eager for a weekend escape from the city, were on their way to a secluded cabin in the woods. There was Mark, the jovial leader, always ready with a joke. Lisa, his girlfriend, was the cautious one, her bright eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. David, the quiet observer, preferred to listen and watch, his camera at the ready. And then there was Emily, the adventurous spirit, always seeking a thrill. They had rented the cabin from an old man in town, a recluse who spoke little of its history. He had warned them to be careful, muttering something about the woods being unsettled. His words, though cryptic, had only fueled their excitement. They were young, invincible, and ready for anything. Little did they know, the cabin held a darkness that was about to consume them. As they arrived at the cabin, the sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows across the clearing. The woods surrounding the cabin seemed to press in, their silence broken only by the rustling of leaves in the night wind. A sense of unease settled over the group. Lisa shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. "It's colder than I expected," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Mark, ever the optimist, laughed it off. "Don't worry," he said, putting his arm around her. "It's just the woods playing tricks on you." But even he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The cabin itself seemed to exude a strange energy, a palpable sense of something unseen. Its wooden walls were weathered and worn, the windows dark and hollow like empty eyes. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation and a growing sense of unease. As they unpacked their bags and settled in, strange noises began to filter through the silence. Floorboards creaked underfoot, even when no one was walking. A low humming sound seemed to emanate from the walls, vibrating through the air. Emily, trying to mask her growing fear, laughed nervously. "This place is definitely haunted," she said, her voice trembling slightly. David, ever the skeptic, dismissed her concerns. "It's an old cabin," he said. "There are bound to be some drafts and settling." But even he couldn't ignore the feeling that something was amiss. The air felt heavy, charged with an unseen energy. Whispers seemed to dance at the edge of their hearing, faint and indistinct. They were being watched. They could feel it. The first supernatural occurrence happened that night. Lisa, unable to shake off the feeling of unease, was lying awake in bed. Suddenly she felt a cold spot settle over her, as if an icy hand had been placed on her chest. She gasped, sitting up abruptly and clutching at the blankets. Looking around the room, she saw nothing, but the feeling of dread remained, a palpable weight pressing down on her. She woke Mark, her voice trembling. "There's something here," she whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Mark, at first dismissive, couldn't deny the look of terror on her face. He held her close, trying to calm her down. But deep down he felt it too. A presence in the room, cold and menacing, watching them from the shadows. As the night wore on, the paranormal activity intensified. Objects moved inexplicably, doors slammed shut on their own, and disembodied voices echoed through the empty halls. The friends huddled together, their initial excitement replaced by sheer terror. David, his camera forgotten, watched in disbelief as a chair in the corner began to rock back and forth, as if pushed by an invisible hand. Emily, her usual adventurous spirit, crushed by fear, clung to Mark's arm. "We need to get out of here," she pleaded, her voice barely a whisper. But it was too late. The cabin had them in its grip, and it wasn't about to let them go. The presence that haunted the woods had found its way inside, and it was hungry for their fear.